name is Jan Orchard. I'm interim executive director here at Acre Café in Johnson City, Tennessee. Well, I actually moved to Tennessee in 1994. When I moved here, I started getting involved in a lot of different areas, including going back and getting a master's of teaching and becoming a teacher. So when I started teaching, I began to notice there was a problem with some of the children at school regarding food, and this thing called food insecurity, meaning they didn't have enough to eat at home. So between that and observing people on the highways with shopping carts and plastic bags, I started to take notice of, there's something going on. And so what I did is I started to explore what other big cities did because I couldn't believe it was just us. And rather than reinvent the wheel, I got online and researched it and found that there was an organization called One World, Everybody Eats. A woman in Salt Lake City, Utah had started a cafe, and she too was noticing that her customers were not able to pay the full amount for the food. So what she did was she would say, hey, just pay what you can. And that little catchphrase is what started all of these community cafes across the United States. We needed somehow to convey to the community what it was we intended to do here. We developed a strategy with Summit Leadership's help, and what we did is we cordoned off this room because this room was the nicest. Everything else was gutted. And Beverly Jenkins, who owned Main Street Cafe in Jonesboro, we set this up like it was a fine dining restaurant. She brought all fresh flowers and all of her silverware and all of her dishes, everything in here, and we held 3 presentations. Talked to them about the concepts of the cafe and what it was that we wanted to do, and they had a wonderful meal and wrote the checks out. We raised $85,000 doing that. The mission and the vision of One Acre Café was to target that area of the population that was hungry or food insecure. And the goal, the desire, was to create a sense of community whereby they were not separated in any means, okay? One of the intentional things we did was develop those community tables where you could have the executive vice president of a bank sitting right next to a person that lives in a tent in Johnson City. And guess what? They start talking over food. So that was the idea of it, that we would have a place that wasn't a soup kitchen, but was a fine dining experience for everyone. I guess in the final concept would be the work and exchange program. Some people call it pay what you can. We call it work and exchange program. And basically the way that works is you would come in the cafe and you would say, I'm hungry and I don't have any money, and we'd say, great, come on in, sit down. Somebody will bring you a menu, order whatever you want, and when you get your check, you'll get a little form in there. And on that form, it will say Monday through Friday, either 10 o'clock or 2 o'clock. And what we need you to do is to come back and help us either set up the cafe or close it down for the next day. Because we wouldn't have this cafe if it wasn't for you. This is your cafe. So we need you to help us run it. It's a community cafe. Surprisingly enough, a lot of people from just this location, like the Tree Streets area, they all have their own individual gardens and are very proud to bring in their snap peas or whatever it is that they have. That they love to take it in and show it to the chef and say, can you use these? Yes, we have a website, oneacrecafe.org. Pretty much everything is on that website in terms of if you want to volunteer or you want to check out what the menu is. That's something I always forget to say about the cafe, and that is the food. People will tell you over and over again they can't believe how delicious the food is.